The protocol is that there is a database that doctors are supposed to go to look to see, and if they see a patient that's doctor shopping to get drugs of any sort, they have an obligation to be careful with their prescribing. Are they always caught? Do we know what's going on? No, but if there is a doctor that is charged with, or there's a complaint that there's overprescribing, we certainly look at that. And again, we have a lot of options in terms of what we do about it, but it's a very serious concern.
Yes,
And they can be prosecuted too.
In the emergency room scenario, the case that I have, the individual, she had a prior abuse of opioids that was on record with this hospital. And so when they released her, they knew that this individual, or if they had checked their records, would have known that this individual had come to their emergency room for opioids twice within the last 12 months, that she was treated for an overdose and then released. So again, is it a needle in a haystack? What's their duty? Do they have to check the records of every individual who walks in there? I don't know.
Well, they have an
all very
obligation.
interesting.
They have an obligation, and dollars count. And if you win a big judgment against them, they're going to be a little more careful, hopefully a lot more careful next time, and the other hospitals around are going to hear. It'll have a ripple effect. So
Well,
I
the
encourage
goal-
you to continue.
Yeah, the goal is, and I had spoken with Susan Betts, and she sought me out, we talked, and my goal was to try to enact some sort of legislation similar to the marching here in Illinois, when I saw you at that meeting at the State of Illinois building several months ago. But I think in Tala, it's kind of the same thing, but maybe that's just me, but maybe, I don't know, I think it is.
Well, and to just what you just mentioned about prescriptions,
Yeah.
Senator Bush just passed a really, really innovative law that requires physicians who have first-time prescription. So for a patient who they have not prescribed for, they mandatorily have to check the prescription drug monitoring program, or they will get their license taken away from them.
What
They
happens-
have to check it.
What
They-
happens when, sorry,
No.
what happens when they check and they find them on that list?
They, again, a totally imperfect law, totally imperfect system. The assumption is that they would need to either figure out a way to refer that individual to treatment and stop prescribing them, or take the appropriate protocol. So that's the part of it that still needs work. So again, this is all very complex. The execution of that law would mean that physician would need to know exactly what to do with that person. They may or may not have the training. And so in that situation, they'd probably best need to refer to an addiction provider, that person to an addiction service, treatment service.
Yeah.
Will they do that? I don't know.
That's where I think the double-edged sword
Right,
of that
it
kind of
is.
law is, because if someone's coming in, I would think that a drug prescribed by a doctor, granted even when it should not have been described, a drug that was produced under a regulated market, would theoretically be potentially safer than what would happen if they went and found the comparable substance on the streets that could
You're
be
right.
adulterated. And you push that person out the door, they don't get what they want, they know they're on this list, they can't go to any other doctor, and now they're on the corner. And that, it's such a nuanced issue that it seems like there's one thing solved, and it's like that whack-a-mole game, where you hit one and just another one pops up. And that, I
Yes.
remember when
100%.
Senator Bush was talking about that at Mikey's message last year, and the first thing that came to mind is that's going to be a double-edged sword. What happens when those people then end up on the street? And at least they can know what they're taking if they get it from a pill bottle. At least they can theoretically know this many milligrams, whatever it is. You get the clump in the dope you get off the street, and the same amount you did the last 10 times kills you. Right.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of data around whether this law works well or not in other places, but you're right. It's a double-edged sword.